just start recording. Who cares, right? No intro, just go for it. And I need to turn this one on so the other one records too. Is it recording? There we go. So if you see the video one is like this is the mic for that one, and the when it's just straight audio on the Libsyn is the mic.
Okay.
So anyway, that's the big difference. So if anyone's listening, this is my good friend Andy, and we decided to do a podcast even though the whole COVID-19 thing is going on, and yeah, we're not scared.
No.
But of course I don't really know anybody that has it either, so if I knew someone that had it, then it would probably make a difference and I'd feel differently,
I suppose.
So anyway, you guys get, if you're watching on YouTube, you get to see Andy for the first time, and yeah, I always forget to mention too that I always forget to mention Libsyn, get people to look it up there, but I don't really care that much anymore if people look it up that much, because like we were talking about it, like how underground I want it to be or how popular I want it to be. I was talking about the wife and a couple other people, and I was like, you know, in a way I kind of like it that it's underground, you know, because it's like, if I started getting sponsors and like stuff like that, I would fear that they would want me to change things and format it differently and watch what I say, and fuck that. I'm not about to do that. Anyway, yeah, we were just talking about a song that Andy was recommending me to listen to for Jack, but like I was telling him, I was just, I don't know, there's times that, you know, I don't even, like I was saying, I mean, like, hearing the wife mention his name, there's other times like I'm okay with talking about him, and then there's other times that I don't like to at all because I know I'm just gonna cry. It was like today, it's like, you know, it's like that thing, it's like we're talking about, it's like you said you're living for him, but it's like really for me I feel like I'm living for Avery. I mean, Mindy too to a certain extent, but she's an adult, you know, and with Avery I feel like, you know, I can't abandon her, and I think I covered this last time, obviously. That,
well, I understand you're living for Avery, but I can imagine Jack is probably proud of what you're doing and how you're being.
Man, I don't know.
Why wouldn't it be?
Well, I just don't know if there's
I am proud.
If there's that ability, you know what I mean, as far as the ability of the dead to see what we do.
Well, we can just speculate, but we don't know, but
yeah,
that's, you know, people believe a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
So,
I don't know what I believe. That's the thing, is like I don't really know, and so I don't really have a view on that, because a lot of other people were saying, like, you know, he's up there with Mindy's dad and stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, that would be comforting if that were the truth. Do I know that for sure? No. But it's a nice thought, I guess. I mean, I guess it's placebo.
Keep the thought.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not my thought. I never had it.
Well,
I still don't have it. I just, I guess because I've always been somewhat just harsh with life and death, and I never really felt that there was an afterlife. I could be wrong. Obviously, I don't know.
I don't know either, and I question everything all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't know. That's why I know it's like if you have, like I said along the last one, if you have passion for life, you got to live now, because you know for sure you're alive right now. You don't know for sure that you have a future life, whatever that is, if there is, but you do know you're here.
That's the question. How do you know we're alive?
Because you get injured like I did, and you can feel pain, and you can feel heartache like I feel with Jack.
But how do you know that is life? What if this is just a collective consciousness that we're all experiencing, and yeah, we can think we feel, but it's just our consciousness believing what we're seeing and potentially feeling through the signals that go to our potential brain that we don't know.
Could be, but there's too many people thinking and feeling not the same things, but occupying the same time. You know, so you're not occupying the same consciousness as everyone else. You're occupying your own consciousness. So therefore,
that's why I call it a collective consciousness. We're all tied together.
I don't think so. I mean, we are loosely.
Maybe not. I have no
I guess
idea.
That's debate, right? I don't know. I guess
I question everything now.
I do too. I try to anyway. It's funny. I used to think that before even the Joe Rogan show, when he had that one TV show, Question Everything. I don't know if you ever saw that.
I saw it.
It's on the Science Channel, I think, right? It was pretty good. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's one of those things, if you accept everything at face value, then you're just another one of those sheeples out there wearing a mask.
True.
You know, no offense to anyone's wearing their mask, but I don't know. I don't subscribe to the paranoia.
I do question whether things happen for reasons that we don't understand, like this COVID-19 thing. I mean, what's it doing that's changing things for the better? We don't think that it is, but look at the air quality around the world. It's improving.
Yeah, water quality as well in certain places.
Is it going to change things in the long run for the better? Maybe. Maybe not. There are people dying, which is not good.
No, but the numbers compared to like the normal flu season that people die are still way, way less. And I know they say this because they give us this social distancing. And even like I was telling Mindy, like just those words, those phrases are starting to make me angry. Just a phrase. Because it's like this, how I see it, I guess we're fed these phrases and we just quote them. And then we get pissed at our fellow Americans if we don't follow these rules that our government has set for us. And it's like, but have you ever thought for yourself once? You just get told what to do and say, okay, I'm going to be a sheeple and just do that then.
Well, when people are scared, they'll be the sheep.
Exactly. That's what I said to the wife. I said, look, I don't think that the government, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I think the government created COVID-19 or that even Wuhan created it. I'm not that deep into it. But I will say that people in power take advantage of these opportunities. And they see them as opportunities because if you don't believe me, you can go back to 9/11 and see what they did with the Patriot Act. And because we were in fear, because we were scared, they took away a lot of our rights. Well, we signed them away. They didn't take them away. We gave them away. And I fear that we could be doing it again. Like, oh, don't go outside, you know. And then they're going to reinforce like a cop arresting you for having freedom.
Right.
You know, it's a scary thought about martial law coming and that kind of stuff. And it's just, you know, I don't know, how far do we go when we're scared of death? Do we give up all of our rights because we're scared of death? And it's like, well, death is going to get you whether you're afraid of it or not. True. And we don't know when it's going to come. Believe me, I know. You don't know when it's going to fucking come. But, you know what I mean? So to be... It's like that, like I said, I love the Buddhist rule of like understanding that you do die, so start living. Don't fear it, embrace it. Right. So I just don't think that we should be so fearful of this death. Because it's the thing of like, I looked into a lot of different numbers, like the automobile industry kills like 40 some odd thousand US people a year, right? We never shut down the automobile industry. Right. But this has killed, I think, 18,000 so far. But we're shutting down the entire world economy. Seems a little wild to me.
It is wild. But seems like money controls everything, but they're shutting everything down as far as money is concerned. That's pretty strange. But
yeah, but think about if they were able to switch all these different things that were private industries into governmental industries. That's more control, more money, more power. Just a theory. I'm not saying they're doing that, and that's the whole thing of they. Who the fuck is they? You got to kind of say that person, but there is a lot of black ops. There just is.
Oh, I know.
The Pentagon exists, you know, and there's I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of employees there that we don't know who they are, right? Their lives of anyway,
and we have no idea how to track the money that is being taken from all of us as citizens and where it's going, what it's used for. We have no idea.
It's like the Rumsfeld thing, right? Remember that? Before 9/11, it was like, was it 2 weeks or 2 days before 9/11? One or the other. It was like a really close proximity. Said they lost $2.3 trillion. They just lost it. Right. And then all of a sudden, we never talked about it again because 9/11. Kind of like Epstein. Like, no one talks about Epstein anymore because, well, we got COVID. Yep. Who the fuck is Epstein? You mean the biggest child rapist on earth? To set up all the highest government officials to fuck these teenage kids?
And he has knowledge of who else did it, and so he just mysteriously dies.
Weird, right?
He kills himself? I don't think so.
Killed himself?
I don't think so.
He fucking got murdered.
I was questioning the whole 9/11 thing just shortly after it happened. It's like, wait, you got people that do this for a living, and they have a hard time having a building come straight down, and these 2 buildings comes exactly straight down with as little collateral damage as possible. That's crap. Plus, building 7 comes down.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Wasn't even hit. No,
I don't go that far. I don't think that our own government would do that. Now, it's kind of like that thing with like Pearl Harbor. Like certain people say that we knew they were coming, and we just turned a blind eye so it would happen so we can get involved in the war. And a lot of people compare this to that, like, oh, we knew it was coming, but we turned a blind eye so we could get involved in this never-ending terrorist war, a war on terror that will never end, like a war on drugs that never ends. Because any of the conspiracy theorists I see that say that our government likes to do those things to get into wars that never end because it's a constant, money crop, and it's a constant way to get reelected, things of that nature. So, because they're always playing the war hawk and saying, "Oh, we support our troops." They say that shit, but their actions speak otherwise. When they don't give our benefits to any of our veterans, and they get fucked over all the time mentally. And how many veterans kill themselves a day? You know what I mean? How many veterans commit suicide a day? And we don't end the wars. But if some civilians die of some fucking virus, we're going to shut down the entire economy. I don't know. I just question shit, my friend. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, I understand this COVID-19 thing is very
real.
It can be passed on really easily versus other viruses, but and it has been passed on really easily. So if they didn't shut it down, how many more millions of people would be infected? I don't know.
Right. But also I asked Mindy this question. I said, look, okay, I get all this, and I do agree that it's real, and I do agree that people are dying, and I'm not trying to be callous about this, but the whole point is like, before they decided to shut the world economy down, did any of those smart people in that room get together and say, now, do we have we forecast a plan on a computer or something like that? Like, what it's going to look like if we shut the government down or the entire economy down for X amount of time? And if we reboot it, what is it going to look like? Have we set out some sort of something so we can kind of judge, so we can know what the fuck we're getting into? I don't think they did that. They just acted and reacted to a situation, didn't think about the consequences, and just said, oh, we're shutting her down.
Well, that's human nature, is to be reactive, not proactive.
But just to think before you act, though. The idea of getting the smartest people in the room, because you have them supposedly. You get all those people in the room and say, all the economists and so on, and say, what is your projection of what would happen if we do this? Just ask some fucking questions before you shut it down, is all I'm saying.
Well, that's what needed to happen, but it didn't.
Sure, and that's the thing,
or
too.
It probably didn't.
It's like, okay, so let's just say that we lose 100,000 people worldwide due to COVID-19. Now, let's just say by shutting down the world economy, we get 3 times the amount of number of that suicide or marriages being broken up, people losing their houses, people losing their jobs, and also entrepreneurs losing their businesses. How much of that is weighed to these, you know what I mean? No one weighed these things, I don't think.
Our government could care less about mental health, that's for sure. They don't care. And it's all about money.
For sure.
It's all about money.
Always has been. I know, but it's just funny how the people just like accept this shit and just say, oh, this is what the government says to do, so we're going to be 6 feet apart, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And it's like, or even like I was telling Mindy, I was like, because I was listening to Pandora, and there's this commercial that comes on with this guy with a deep voice, and he tries to scare you. And it's like, the average person knows 500 people, and 1 out of every 100 people, they get the coronavirus or something like that, die. And so if you go out, you could be killing 5 of your closest friends. Do you want to be responsible for killing one of your closest friends or family? And it's like this scare tactics. It's like, what the fuck, I could also get the pneumonia and pass it along to my grandma or my mother-in-law, whoever else, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing could happen from that.
Or you could steer a little bit to the left instead of to the right, and you just crashed into a car and you killed all your passengers. So, it happens.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so it's the thing of I don't know how reactive we should be to all of this kind of stuff. It just seems like we're overreactive to it maybe a little bit. But I'm also not the person in charge, but I just question the people in charge. I wonder what their motivations are and why they made the decisions they made. That's all.
I know.
It doesn't make any sense.
Money.
Of course.
Follow the money.
It always makes sense, doesn't it? To follow the trail of money and power, and then you get the answer to why they did this or why that happened. Yeah, I know. Anywho, I don't know what you wanted to talk about. I mean, for me, I was gonna come down here and just like do one of my recordings, but I figured since you were here and I've been avoiding you, I've been avoiding everybody, by the way. That's not just you. But yeah, I figured if you wanted to...
I'm not that arrogant.
If you wanted to
I'm
take
still
over,
arrogant, just not that arrogant.
You can take over the podcast if you like, and you could ask me whatever you like, or just talk about anything, or if you just wanted to keep the conversation going. Sorry, I kind of interrupted it by trying to schedule something here, but...
Well, I was going to talk about psychedelics.
All right, yeah, man, I'm open.
Because, when I was younger, I didn't believe that marijuana was good for you in any shape, fashion, anything. I just thought, okay, I'm going to believe everything the government says and the media says, and it kills brain cells and it's bad for you, blah, 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 whatever. Mm-hmm. And so the same holds true with psychedelics. And the truth, I believe, is, well, obviously marijuana is not bad for you. It's never been bad for you. In fact, there's been no recorded case of an overdose of marijuana ever in history of man.
No death accountable to it, that's for sure.
I mean,
no one's ever died smoking marijuana.
Right.
But how many people have died drinking alcohol?
Oh, tons.
Hundreds of thousands, if not a million or more.
But psychedelics were actually being studied back in the 60s, or late 50s, early 60s. Mm-hmm.
Before McKenna, right? Yeah.
For their psychological benefits to mankind. And now they're coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
coming back in a big way.
I know. And that's why...
I'm still fearful in a way, though, to try it. I'll admit it. Because it's something I've never done. And it's not that I have like a huge amount of fear of it, but it's just, a little bit of fear of the unknown. And
I understand completely.
Yeah.
When I first tried mushrooms, I was, a teenager of some sort, 16, 17, 18, something like that. And I took one mushroom. I don't know how much the weight was, but I took one. And
I guess I should cough that way towards the door, huh?
It made me feel like I had to puke. I never did. But then actually when it took effect, I started laughing at everything. Everything was funny.
That sounds about like what I experienced when someone else I knew dropped some acid. They just giggled and couldn't stop fucking giggling.
I had a friend of mine who was drunk and he was puking in the bathroom. He was next to the toilet and he was puking. And I'm in there and I'm feeling bad for him, but I'm laughing. And I'm laughing at him. I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing while he's puking. And I'm like, I feel bad for you. Ha, ha, ha. I can't help but laugh. It's not funny that you're puking, but it's like, ha, ha, ha. It's like...
See, the sicko in me would be laughing because he was puking. I would enjoy that. I'd be like, oh, yeah, you enjoying yourself there?
And then I did, I've done research on marijuana.
Well, when you were puking out my car on your 21st birthday, guess who was laughing?
Oh, you.
That'd be this guy.
Oh, yeah. But I did research in Colorado back in 2013, and I don't know how I came upon this with marijuana, and I saw neurogenesis, which is the birth of new brain cells, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And so I found out there was a dispensary like within walking distance of our house that we got in Colorado.
Yeah, you told me about this. That's right.
And so we went down there, and he told me about the different cannabinoids, specifically CBD, and the fact that I needed I think it was called a red card, blue card, red card, whatever the heck it is. And
I got a whatever we call them, green cards here, I guess.
I don't know, but I had to get one, and then
I call it just a grow card, whatever.
And then there was another dispensary that I met this guy who owned the place, and he was a really cool guy. He wasn't in business to just get people high. He was actually in it for the medical benefits of it. And
right, yeah, a lot of
he
people
knew about
are,
my
actually.
situation. He knew I had a brain injury, and he wanted to help.
Yeah.
So he ended up giving me this little tub about that big in diameter.
Well, if he can prove
like
it helps you,
big.
it's only going to prove that the science that this shit works. It's only going to help him in a way.
Yeah. Well, he gave me this Phoenix Tears he made.
Okay.
This liquid concentrated.
So he did extract or whatever it's called.
Liquid. He made this stuff, and he said all you have to do is dip your pinky into it, and take it. And so I did, and I've never been more higher in my entire life. I didn't even feel like it was in reality. And I don't have pain But I thought, you know what? I swear I could cut my leg off. Of course, I'd die from bleeding to death, but I wouldn't feel it. But it was interesting.
You only did it the one time?
Only did it the one time.
Huh. And you have a whole thing of it, or you did?
I did.
Man.
That was back in 2013.
Well, I have those if you want to try some of those.
So, but I don't actually like getting high. I don't.
Well, those are those
because
edibles. I don't get high off the edibles. They don't do shit to me.
My cognitive abilities aren't anywhere near what they used to be. So when you're high on marijuana, your cognitive abilities go down anyways. I don't want them to go down. I want them to go up. I want to be able to build a nuclear bomb in my sleep. That's what I want.
All right.
So, you know, I'm just referencing how I want my cognition to be higher.
Think of something besides the nuclear bomb.
Sorry. I use that reference to somebody else. But,
all right. Speaking of which, yeah, if I can, my buddy that I do want to have on here, I've talked about him, Darren, Mohawk Darren. Did you ever meet Darren?
I don't think so.
He's fucking awesome. I mean, he gave me a book on Bob Lazar, an autobiography that he wants me to read, so I'll have to check that out. I've barely broken into it.
That could be another subject.
Well, of course. Yeah.
But as far as psychedelics, I would invest in them. Mind Med.
Yeah, who has the fucking money to invest in anything?
Well, I was looking at this.
I mean,
I was looking at the stock price.
We're trying to save it because we don't know what the fuck's going to happen to the economy. It's like scary shit.
It's a Canadian stock. And I was looking at the stock price a couple weeks ago. It was like 32 cents. And maybe that's Canadian dollars or whatever, currency. But
isn't our dollar stronger than ours, though?
No, I don't know. I thought it was lower.
Oh, okay. Maybe it is. Yeah, you're right. Maybe. I don't know.
But like a week later, I saw it went up to like 62 cents. So I'm like, interesting. Doubled. Imagine if you had like $10,000 in there, you just make $10,000. But
if you knew when to cash out.
Yes, and then of course it goes back down.
Game. It's like
it goes up and down. It goes up and down. But it's going to be huge. You already got Denver, who's decriminalized magic mushrooms, and you've got Oakland, who's decriminalized all natural psychedelics, and Santa Cruz, California.
Oh wow! I didn't know Santa Cruz did.
This state, this November.
Oh, it's going to be up for election. That's right. I don't know if it'll pass the first time here because we're still a little bit redneck, you know. Yeah. Not all the state. I mean, Multnomah County for sure is liberal as fuck.
And then there's
but
California.
You get out here, it's a little different. It just depends.
It's hard to say. I mean, well, no one thought that marijuana would be
that's
decriminalized.
True. But I think, once you show there's a medical benefit to things.
Yes.
And also
they're showing that now.
Right. And also
Johns Hopkins University is showing the medical benefits of psilocybin or magic mushrooms.
But not a lot of people want to listen to it because even my wife, I tried, and she doesn't. I finally gotten her to where she's willing to listen. But even that, it's like because they're worried about the bad trip thing, and worried about the adverse effects, the side effects, so on, of like melting your brain and all these stories they've heard, although there's not many real true cases of it. And so I think it's another thing is when we talk about fear, same thing. I think if you can present it to the public that reduces their fear of it, then they'll accept it. Because even guys that I know that are hardcore Republican, hardcore right-wingers are fine with pot now because they've realized there's no fear anymore.
All right.
And I think once you take that fear away, then you're in. So if like you were shown that even the people that so-called had the bad trips were just, like I've heard, trips that the brain that you're meant to see, you just don't want to. And the bad trip sometimes is like when you're resisting.
It's actually could be beneficial for you to have a bad trip.
I've heard that, but I've also heard people going too deep and taking too much, and really frying some shit.
I've never heard frying some shit.
I've only seen like one or two, or one true case of a guy like you could tell that he wasn't the same after.
Well,
but who knows if that was long term? I didn't see him 10 years after. I saw him like a week after it was, or something like that. After he like, it was someone that did some kind of experiment where they did acid every day for a month or some fucking stupid thing. And it's like, dude. Well, but that's an extreme case, of course.
I did 5 grams. Which is the heroic dose.
Right, as far as they call the hero dose. What was that the mechanic calls that?
I don't know,
or somebody
but
like that?
I did it, and it didn't really seem to make me see things like I thought. I thought I was going to see God.
Right. Well, that's ayahuasca, which I'm sure you're going to lead to in a minute. But I've heard just acid doesn't do that.
But see,
it's just more of
it's not addictive at all.
But did yours now? Like I've heard from my friends that have taken mushrooms and stuff that last for like 8 to 12 hours, something like that.
Mushrooms, 6 hours, 6 to 8 maybe, if you're lucky.
Just depends on how much you take.
LSD is more like 12.
Gotcha.
Ayahuasca is even
in
less.
Liquid form, I've heard ayahuasca is like 15 minutes.
Well, it's basically DMT.
I don't know.
Dimethyltryptamine.
You sound like Rogan right now. I'm always like, when he says this, he's like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like,
So I just think that we as mankind needs to think outside the box, and we're not doing that now. We're working on observational knowledge. And what I mean by that is the knowledge we've gained over the last 100, 200, 300,000 years, whatever. We're basing our future knowledge on our past knowledge. We're not going, okay, well, maybe if we do this instead, it may do something different. No, we think, okay, well, water is going to freeze at 32 degrees, right? Well, if it's moving, it will never freeze.
This is true.
And water has got another interesting property to it.
The expansion of it.
Yes. But just before it freezes, it expands 10% of its size.
You were talking about history, though, for a second. Sorry, I had to interrupt. Because it's really interesting how you say that we were living off the history of 100,000, 200,000 years. Because I don't know if you've watched a lot of stuff with Graham Hancock.
I know who he is, but...
Him and a few others have like blown my mind with that Göbekli Tepe is the name of it, that site, and it's in modern day Turkey, and it was it was buried, so it was buried purposely, and so they found it and they've dated it, and it's like 12,500 years old, and it's this megalithic site, and so anyway, it kind of just throws a wrench into when civilization started, and proving that we could be in a repetitive cycle over and over and over again.
It could be.
Because like they around that time period is when it was right before the last ice age. And then they figured out why the last ice age is because a comet came and hit us and broke apart and was 8 pieces or something like that, and hitting eight different spots on the planet or something like that, and caused mass destruction, killed off like 95% of the human race and all this kind of stuff. So they're saying that obviously any knowledge we would have had then would be gone. Just like today, if that would have happened today, which a comet could hit or an asteroid and could wipe us out for the most part, at least a majority of us, and all that would be left is simple people, hunter-gatherer types, ones that never were affected by cities anyway, because they'd know how to survive anyway. And so it's interesting how it could be. And like, you think about it, if you came to a modern-day city that was destroyed by an asteroid, right? You'd look at it as a fucking Unga Gunga, whatever you are, right? Not very advanced, and you'd be like, I don't know what the fuck this stuff is. I don't even know what it is. Because I even told Mindy, I was like, think about it. I took this in a different area. It was about aliens, but point being is, like, let's just say you were an alien pilot and you crash landed here. I know I'm going way sidetrack. I know, sorry, but and they even if you survived that and we were able to communicate with somehow, you probably yourself as a pilot wouldn't be able to build that craft or know how it was fucking built, because you're just a fucking pilot. It would make sense that they would decompartmentalize too, just like we do. So it's like, we know how to use our phones, but can you build me one?
Nope.
No, not a fucking chance. Do you know how this even works?
Since you sidetracked on aliens, I'll go along that path. I feel like these aliens can actually control time. We know nothing. We know
I was going to talk about all about time on
we know very little about time, just that it passes. And we know certain things, like the faster you travel towards the speed of light, time slows down.
We're here in this we're in a fucking cunt here of time. Sorry to be using my word, but as far as like if a time was a scale this big, we'd be...
Right.
So like our knowledge of time is like...
Yes, we know nothing.
We know shit.
I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast where he was talking to somebody, some official from the Air Force or whatever, and they were talking about how this craft went from
the Nimitz.
No, whatever craft this, alien craft was that went from really high to like 200 feet,
10,000 to 200 feet, and like that,
like a blink of an eye. It's like we all think mankind thinks, well, how did they do that so fast?
Right.
Maybe it has nothing to do with fast.
Well,
Maybe
it has to do with what
time.
Bob Lazar was talking about. How, like, he was talking about it's gravity, though. Because if you can change gravity, gravity can affect time.
Gravity affects time.
And that's what he was saying. Like, it's all like a gravity-based type thing. It's interesting.
There's something going on with that.
Yeah, because like for us, like, yeah, it seems like that took only this long, but for them, it took them the same amount of time it would normally take, as us to fly from that spot to another.
Possibly, something like that, but I get what you're saying.
But for us to view it, it like happened just like that.
And maybe that's why we haven't discovered these aliens out in the universe, is because they're not in our timeline.
What if they're not aliens?
Maybe they're us.
What if those crafts are what Bob Lazar was saying? Those are the crafts are at Area 51, and they're piloted by us.
Right.
And they're artifacts, because he said that one of them was an artifact, an alien ship. That's what blew my mind.
I remember hearing that too.
One of them was part of an archaeological dig, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So you're saying that this alien craft, if it's true, if it's real, is tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years old? What? So in other words, could there be lost technology? Mm-hmm.
I love movies that have to do with some sort of traveling through time, or time passes in a different way. It's like, I like watching that because it just intrigues me.
That were to have happened up at, before us. If someone were able to time travel, then I think our time would be constantly manipulated, and you know what I mean? It just seems like maybe we haven't gotten there yet. Because it's kind of one of those weird things. Even if we had gotten there yet, down the road, couldn't we still affect this time by traveling back in time? And
I don't know. I don't know how it works. That's the thing. I don't know enough about it.
Yeah. I don't think you can do that in a sense. I don't think you can rewrite history.
Well, you may be right, or you may be wrong. You don't know. That's the thing. We don't know enough about time to really understand. Yeah. We just know that it passes, and we think that the time that we're experiencing now is the same time reference point, where like I mean, time is passing maybe slower for me or faster for me. We don't know. How do we know?
Don't. But we can take a good example of like past human history to know that each person kind of knows that they're in a certain time period and are passing the same amount of time as someone else. Like a second to you is a second to me. I don't know. That's hard to say.
It's just one thing I have to think about.
Of course, you
figure
can
out how to
ponder
explain.
It. Well, it's just like the dream state and stuff like that, and how Rogan and other people feel like that it's just another state of consciousness. I don't know. I wake up from it though. Like this morning, I was having a fucking gnarly one about Jack, and I wake up though. I'm not in it. I mean, it felt like I was in it at the time.
How do you know you're not in it? What if this is just a conscious state that we're in, but when we dream, we go to a different, I shouldn't say where, because it's not a location, but we're somehow else different.
I guess.
Like when we dream, it's actually real in the dream.
Right.
It's really happening.
But the only thing that I've always thought about when people say that is like, but if someone else is in that room watching you sleep, you're there with them in that room. You know what I mean? And they can just go, and you're awake and you're talking to them.
I get it, but like I said, we don't understand it.
Yeah, I get you. But I mean, yeah. I mean, we don't understand it, I know, but at the same time, it's like, I guess it's kind of like... I'm
going to have to contemplate that. Though,
right. I guess it's better than saying that it's another thing that we can just put towards God, Although, like, I do like what Jordan Peterson says about God and religion in general. Like, I don't like being labeled an atheist. I don't like being labeled anything, really, obviously. I hate that shit. Labeling is just for weak-minded people, in my opinion, because it just settles your fucking brain. But anyway,
Chet, you're a man. I'm labeling you.
Oh, that's because we decided that...
Because I'm weak-minded?
The male are the ones that have the penises, but we've decided to call us females from the beginning, then we'd be females. Words are words, I mean.
I know, I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, I know. I like how you do that, though. I totally sidetracked. I don't even know what I was talking about.
Jordan Peterson,
Oh
God.
yeah, God. Good call. See, this is what happens with the other person here is when I'm by myself, I have to go, oh fuck, what did I do? And I can't rewind it. So anyway, what he said is just a simple fact of like, even if you don't believe in God and religion and all that stuff, like the idea of living your life as if you had to answer to God someday. Like if when you die, you go to the so-called pearly gates and you have to answer for your sins and then also be credited for your good, good fortunes, good givings, whatever that's called, good actions, good something. Anyway, point being is live your life like as if you had to answer for all your actions. So I was like, well, yeah, that's a good way to live. I like that.
How do you know what's good and what's bad?
I think religion itself, man, that's a tough one. I think most of the people that follow religion are good people. I just think that the religion itself is, I don't know. It's just, it's unnecessary today, in my opinion. I mean, you can get a lot of love and friendship from your friends and family, There's something weird about walking into a church that feels like, whoa. But it's because we made ourselves feel that way, We put that on ourselves. Because if God is really as powerful as he or it or whatever that is, then it's everywhere at all times. It's not just in one special building on one special day.
No location.
And that's the thing too, not deciding like, well, I like this religion, but not the other ones. It's like, what kind of shit is that? And we have over thousands of religions. So then obviously none of them are right. But I think within that, then also they're not all wrong either. Like there's a lot of good scriptures in them as far as like good guidelines, good morals, good ways that I think what it is when you take it literally and you take it like it's like full on, like this is like what really happened or what we should do, instead of just taking them as stories of like them trying to relate to what happened to them in that time period,
How do you know what's good and what's bad?
How do I know?
Yeah.
Personally?
Yeah.
Because the opposition of. Because if you do the opposite of one or the other, then you know that is the, the pendulum of whatever that subject is, in a sense.
If you were in a situation, you were in a different time. Let's say back when Hitler was born.
Mm-hmm.
And you could have killed Hitler, either his mother when she was pregnant or after she was born, and just killed him. Is that good or bad? Because he was responsible for millions of deaths later on down the line.
Let's just say if he died in World War I when he was a soldier, that'd be the best time for him to be passed.
That wasn't my question. That wasn't my question.
No, if I were the one that would be the one to go back in time and take him out, would I do it?
Let's just say you didn't go back in time. This was just that time. You were
if
there.
I was alive in that time period and I had the ability and I wanted to kill him, then he'd be dead. I would probably do it, yeah.
But you didn't know what was going to happen.
Man, that's fuck.
So
of course not. I would never kill an innocent baby. That's insane.
Well, I get it. I know, but is it good or bad? Would it have been good or bad?
Well,
It's
interesting.
My eye is leaking.
I don't know.
Apparently I'm crying for no reason.
I cry for reasons usually nowadays.
I don't cry. That's the thing.
Hitler, interesting. I don't know, man, because yeah, it is a tough question.
Well, I was questioning myself at one time after this whole brain injury thing. I didn't know who I was supposed to be, what I was supposed to do, how I was supposed to be, whether I was supposed to be good, whether I was supposed to be bad. Like, should I help people or should I harm them for my benefit because I'm selfish? I didn't know what I was supposed to do. Should I go rob a bank?
Interesting.
And get a bunch of money so I could buy a helicopter and cars and boats, or should I help people that need help because I didn't know? And so I'm like, my research into psychedelics is kind of like, doing mushrooms or psilocybin could potentially give you the answers of what you need. So that's why I did my 5-gram trip. And I did get the answers.
Interesting that you have those thoughts in the first place, though. Because I think most people just innately go. They don't question whether it's good or bad. They just they just go with gut or what feels good at the moment or what they think they should do. Like they think they see a path that just maybe work for someone else and they want to copy it. I could see a lot of that.
I think that I always was in the good mode. I think. I don't know. It's hard to say. But
I think anyone that's like, say, 17 to 25 is going to be selfish, no matter who you are. Male, female, heterosexual, bisexual, gay, lesbian, whatever.
It never stops.
Doesn't matter.
To some degree.
Well, yeah, but I mean, as far as like your most selfish time, when you're going to be that most selfish person is in that time period, because you just are.
I started probably when I was 12.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, because that's the thing is like I found myself, now whether that's because I started out as this like sweet innocent kid and then I went through a bunch of bullshit and then now I've kind of found that earlier self again, you know. I think I would have went away from that irregardless of the damage, you know, because I would have, you know, just been like any other normal teenage boy with a lot of angst and anger and just wanted to go hunt for chicks and, you know, get drunk and woo, party, you know, because we all did that because it seemed like that was the thing you were supposed to do too. Not just because it was fun, but also because the influence of like TV, radio, music, media, whatever, movies and stuff, like you're supposed to be this like crazy party animal at that age.
Society's norms.
Yeah, and it does feel fun. It is. It's a blast. It still is a blast today at this age, but you just kind of feel like a jackass when you do it because you are. But it's still fun.
And I'm a jackass. I get it.
Well, nothing wrong with it. I think it doesn't make you a bad person by doing some stupid shit. What makes you a bad person is like being a bad person. It's simple. Like I like, okay, I'll give you an example. Like, man, Mindy's was reading me the stuff that these other parents are reacting to Avery's teacher. So since everything's shut down, the teacher's trying to do the best she can doing these online programs for the kids. And we were trying to do as much as we can at our own because we figured, fuck, what is she going to be able to do? This is on us. But she's been doing a lot and helping and trying to set up these different programs for the kids to do and stuff. And, you know, trying really hard. And she's like staying up all fucking night, it seems like, you know, doing this stuff. And a lot of these parents are shitting on her. Like saying this is too hard to figure out and I can't get this. And it's the way they're responding is they're just being mean and attacking, you know. And it's because they're frustrated at this whole COVID-19 and everything else. So they got a willing person to be a punching bag, so they take full advantage of punching her. And I think of like these other parents, and I don't care if they hear this or see me, you're an asshole. What the fuck is wrong with you? Seriously. You got problems. Like this person is trying as hard as they can, and they're apologetic. So you take this apologetic like a person as a weak person and decide to shit on them and hurt their feelings because you have a reason for it. Like I've told Mindy, like here's the thing, it's like I've always said, when you want to be mean or evil or an asshole or hurt someone's feelings, you have to go out of your way to do so. You have to go and attack. You have to go and shit on them. It's an aggressive action to do so. So whenever you do that, it just shows your character or lack thereof.
Yeah, I can be that way sometimes.
We all can. But it's one of those things that, like, in that situation, you're like, you're a fucking jerk off. Just straight up. Yeah, I don't get it, man. That made me so angry when Mindy was telling me about it. I was just like, man. Because that's the thing. To me, it's like, because I guess then it gets personal. Because I was bullied. And so anytime I see someone bullying someone, I'm like, you know what? Like, bully me, motherfucker. I get pissed. I know I'm a small dude and all that, but I'm like, I don't care.
Right.
You want someone to bully? Push me around. See if I take it. Fucking assholes. Just upsets me, dude. I just don't. That's the thing, is like, so when you talk about being evil or good, it's like, that's evil. Because you chose to be shitty to someone. That's evil.
Yeah, well, I know that me specifically having a brain injury, I can turn into somebody that isn't me. Completely different person.
That
and
sucks.
I don't even know who I am. I literally do not. I like after it's done and over with, I'm like, who the fuck was that guy? Who the hell was that guy? I hate that guy.
Sounds like Mike Tyson. He used to talk about how his personality was before he did his ayahuasca trips.
Yeah.
And how he hated that person he was before.
That's why I want to do ayahuasca.
It's interesting.
Or LSD or more magic mushrooms.
But he felt like he was that person like all the time, though, for the most part. Like, he wasn't super violent all the time or aggressive, but he felt like, because now he doesn't even work out because he doesn't want to like invoke the inner beast. It's weird. He's so peaceful now.
All right.
I love listening to his podcast and the way he speaks. And sure, he has his lisp and it's hard to understand, but at the same time, the way his brain works and his what he says sometimes, it's like a fucking savant. It's so crazy. You're like, wow. You come out of this thug as you think. And
so he did a psychedelic and he's not crazy? And he's not stupid?
No.
Interesting.
No, he's a very intelligent human being.
I know that.
I know you're being sarcastic as fuck. I get you.
They don't.
You can get that by me.
They don't. They don't.
Sarcasm is where I live.
They don't ruin your brain. They don't make. In fact, they make you think outside the box, which we don't do.
Well, it's like that. Who's the one that thought up with the Stone Age theory? But I've talked about it before. But I really think
Paul Stamets.
It could be right. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, of the idea that early hominous monkeys or whatever now we were, or if whatever we were in the transition point, but we're flipping over cow patties and eating the mushrooms, and we're tripping and expanding their brains, and that explains the missing link, as we call it.
It's hard to say.
I don't know. My whole theory on the missing link and stuff like that, as far as stuff is evolving, is I don't buy it. I think I've talked about it before. I just don't buy it. I don't. Because if we evolved, then why the fucking monkey's still around? If we came from that.
Because they didn't evolve. They didn't improve. They didn't get better. They didn't get smarter. Who's to say?
But we were they.
So?
Do you see what I'm saying? How could a certain species, only part of them evolve and the rest of them just hang around? Or
because the ones that didn't get the psychedelic whatever they were taking, they mated and they had babies and they didn't have that evolutionary change to become smarter and better, and they kept going, but we went this way. I don't know.
Maybe. Or let's just say, would you compare yourself, not necessarily as a higher intelligent, but of a higher understanding than, say, someone that's a tribalman in the Amazon that's never experienced any education whatsoever? Would they kind of look at you and think that you're somewhat of a sorcerer for certain things you do and just be like blown away, right?
Yeah.
So couldn't we have been this the whole fucking time? And we educate ourselves sometimes, and other times we don't. A lot of times we hunt with spears forever, and other times we evolve.
Well, there's tribes somewhere around the world that don't know anything about anything.
Right.
I mean, we don't.
And
they don't
you
know
go
we've been
there,
out
they
in
kill
space.
you.
Yeah, and they know nothing. They don't know what a car is, an airplane. They've never seen one. It's like
right. So they are living no different than humans did 100,000 years ago.
So what if we evolved to something even beyond where we're at, but that tribe is still there. They're still like that, and they continue like that for however many years it is.
But I don't think we're going to evolve any more than we evolve. Like, that's it. Like,
why do you think that?
Because I think that's the mistake of evolution. I think that we can evolve slowly over time. For sure, we can lose hair and things like that because,
we don't live long enough to know.
True, but I just don't think that, like Rogan says, we're going to become these like the terrestrials, like the Greys, like we're going to lose our genitalia, and we're going to like not need our fucking mouths anymore because we're going to speak through our minds.
I do that now. What are you talking about?
Right, to myself. I talk to myself all the fucking time. And
I talk to you, and you hear me. You just never talk to me back.
Right.
You bastard.
Sure. But yeah, it just, I don't know, man. I don't agree.
And you're right. You don't have to agree.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I don't agree with or believe in or whatever, but
excuse me.
I'm up for anything. Like if you were to ask me, do you believe in God? I'm not going to say no. I'm not going to say yes. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, but I do know that early man and a lot of people use that for answers.
Yeah.
You know, why did this happen? God.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing is like, I've been listening a lot to Christopher Hitchens. Have you ever listened to that guy?
No.
Dude, he's fucking amazing. He's a profound atheist. And he hates the church and he hates religion. And he goes after them because he goes after, especially, not especially, but this is one thing I was watching about circumcision and how he talked about he calls it a mutilation of the genitalia. And, you know, if you've looked up the stats, like kids die from it and everything else, and the babies cry. It's a very brutal fucking thing. It's bloody. It's gnarly.
Right.
And he was comparing it to saying, well, what if I was to cut the labia or the clitoris of a girl? Like, would that be considered mutilation then? You know, it's like, and so he started comparing it like that, and I was like, holy shit, I never thought of it that way. And then also just how brutal it is how unnecessary it is. And even Rogan's covered it, the simple fact that, you know, kids have lost their lives, lost their junk, lost the ability to reproduce, fucking have pain every time they use it or whatever else, and over just because it's a cosmetical type thing, really. So anyway, where was I going with that? Oh, because he was going against religion. Why was I going there? I don't know. Anyway, I listen to a lot of Christopher Hitchens. I don't know why, because atheist point. I don't know what I was going with it though. But anyway, he's really super smart. I love listening to him. I don't know why I was going there, but because I think we're talking about aliens or something. What were we talking about a second ago?
Psychedelics, aliens, atheists, God. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. That's what happened.
Random shit.
So here's like some of the notes I was writing for like the podcast I was going to do before Jack passed, and then I only covered like the drunken Tijuana one because Charles said I needed to get funny again, because I was gonna try to make a funny podcast, or not funny, but just tell funny stories. But it's the funny thing is, it's like, even though they're funny stories, like I can't even tell them funny right now, because even though I smile and laugh, it's like it's hard for me to be humorous or to sound even humorous.
Right.
Yeah.
All I know is when that poo filter decided to explode in my head, it destroyed my innocence. Like, destroyed it.
Yeah.
Like, if I was younger and I believed in Santa Claus, I wouldn't believe in Santa Claus anymore. I wouldn't believe in anything. I don't believe in anything. It's like, and I don't like it. I want to be innocent. I would love to be innocent. That's why I would I want Avery to be innocent for the rest of her life.
She won't be.
I know.
I mean, I'm a realist. I mean, I don't know. I lost my innocence pretty early. I think after the second time I realized I was molested, I kind of realized I lost my innocence. And then just, constantly being beaten on by my brother and stuff, it just, innocence was gone. I mean, hearing my mom have sex with people and stuff like that, it's just, dude, your innocence, it's gone. So I know what you're saying, but mine came from a totally different way, but I just, it just gives you a different lens on reality. There's nothing wrong with that. Just as long as you don't become hateful and spiteful of people that are innocent. I used to get mad at people like, oh, ignorance is bliss.
I see negative,
but it is,
and I
verbalize. I'd rather have ignorance is bliss than all this.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. Like, I used to say, I know I'd never want to be ignorant. I just want to be in the moment and deal with whatever you deal with. But I don't mean to throw a pity party, but it's just like one of those things like, I had no idea how bad you can feel.
I throw those pity parties all the time.
It's insane. Like, people try to relate, and I appreciate it, but it's impossible for me to even tell you how it feels. It's funny because Mel contacted me yesterday, or was it today? I think it was yesterday. I haven't contacted him back, like I don't with people. But he wrote me this beautiful fucking message and asked me to look at this thing, something, related to God, and it's, of course, I'm sure it's to do with Jehovah's Witness, but his heart's in the right place, and And I'll watch it. I haven't yet, but I will, because it's an ownership of a friend. He's asking me to, you know. Do I believe in it? No. Am I going to try to go in it with open mind? I'll give it a shot, you know. I'm pretty anti-religious, but not in a sense of like I'm against it, but I just know it doesn't work for me.
Right.
And because that's the thing, is like I probably went 3 times that first week to my therapist, and then a couple times the next week, and then so I've seen her probably like, I don't know, 8 to 10 times now, and those first few ones really helped, and it's just interesting. It's like, but I started realizing that I already kind of knew the process in a sense. And so it's like it's that double-edged sword. It's like, so I knew what I kind of was going to be going through and what I would expect, but it doesn't like make it better. You know what I mean? And so there's no making it better. You know, and I almost like wanted to get mad at you the other day, and to be honest.
Oh, it's completely honest.
Because it was, well, you know me, I'll just say it. It was just when you said, when are you going to get to talk to your friend again? And I felt like texting back, when I'm going to get to hold my son again. But I was like, it's not his fault. And I'm just angry.
And that was me having an emotional crap going on, and that's
fine.
why I said that to you.
No, and that's totally fine. But and I felt like, God, you know, I'm like, that's why I don't talk to a lot of people, because I know that I can get visceral if like I choose to, and I'm trying not to, because it's like, it's not about anyone else. It is about me and my demon now, and dealing with that. It's like at first I didn't sleep, and then like last night was like the first time I had a dream about him in a while, and for a while there I was having them pretty consistent. I couldn't sleep because I'd just dream about him, and it just fucked me up. And they're becoming different, like they're good in a sense, like the situations with him. But then I wake up just like feeling more of a loss than before, you know.
Right.
So it's fucking weird. It's hard, you know. Because Mindy was asking me today, she's like, "Are you sure you can be able to do a podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah," because I've been pretty down. I've been upset and crying today and stuff, and so it's like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess what it is, like I said, it's like I hold it together because I know I have to for my daughter, and I don't want it to be fake. I want it to be real, but so I feel like I'm living in my own personal hell, to be honest, because I want to give up. I don't want to do anything. I just don't.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I have zero desire. I don't give a fuck.
Different reason why, but
yeah, I'm not trying to like throw a pity party. I know that you're not either, and I know that we're not that type. But it's like, I just don't fucking care. I don't have any personal passion for life. It's like, I don't give a fuck. It's like,
I get that too,
you know,
completely.
Because I don't need to go into great detail with all the listeners and stuff, but with you, I held him, you know.
Yeah.
And
I feel what you're feeling, but for a different reason. It's weird.
So it's like, yeah, I just...
and I can't understand how you feel. And
so I feel tortured because I want to give up.
Right.
But I know I have to live for sure for Avery.
Right.
And it's like I said, it's like I can't just like be there and be half-assed. I actually have to smile in her to believe it, that it's a true smile.
Right.
So it's like today, like watching her go out and hunt Easter eggs, it's like, it is a true smile. But then it's like she turns away and I start crying because I'm like, there should be 2 of them out there.
Right.
You know? It's like, fuck, dude. It's tough. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, man, it's fucking brutal. And so it's like and Mel, obviously why I mentioned him is because he can relate, you know.
Right.
Not many other people can. And
I remember hearing Mel's story years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm like...
Yeah, it was fucking brutal. I was there, you know, he was my roommate at the time. Yeah, it was tough. I mean, we knew that Andrew, because that was his name. Weird, right? And maybe I shouldn't say too much, but we knew that he, you know, he was growing up rough. I mean, not that it was like a bad situation. I mean, kind of a little bit. Like, it was Mel's ex-girlfriend, and she was a little crazy. But we're also young. And anyway, the child just had development issues from birth. And So he was having trouble walking and talking and stuff at a time that he was supposed to be able to, obviously, long past. And I think he was even going to like the Alice Hatch Center, if I want to believe that, say that right. I think that's what it was. But anyway, yeah, it was like, it is not that it was like not surprising. It was obviously a complete and total surprise that it happened. But like thinking back now, we're like, oh well, there was reporting that way, but we're so young, it would just, we didn't know that's what would happen,
right?
You know. And so yeah, I remember going to the funeral with Mel and at that Jehovah Church on the east side, and just seeing how devastated he was, and I was just like, holy shit, you know. I didn't know what to say to him, so I didn't say anything. And then I kind of partly told the story, maybe. I don't know if I told it on here, but I told you. Maybe I've told other people. I made such an ass of myself. So we're over at Tanya's house when he dated Tanya, and I was dating Marcy. And
I haven't heard of that name in years.
I'm just not going to say their last names because, like, who wants to out them? But anyway, we're over at her parents' house, and this was, like, you know, what years was this? Late 90s, right? 97, 98?
Yeah, something like that.
So, her parents had Laserdiscs. We were watching Laserdisc movies. This is dating us.
Old
so anyway,
school.
Yeah. So, I remember watching Stargate, and the beginning of Stargate. Do you remember how it starts out?
Not really.
You remember the movie at all?
I know there was a movie. I don't know if I watched it.
The movie is like basically about like Egyptian type shit, and they found a Stargate,
I might have watched it, but
and they were able to dial it and go back in time, or actually to another universe.
I vaguely remember something about that, but yeah.
So they went to like a parallel universe, I think, in the movie. But anyway, at the beginning of the movie, Kurt Russell is the military character, and he's in this like bedroom, and it's a kid's bedroom, and he's in there crying, and he's putting a gun to his mouth or his head, thinking about committing suicide because his son died. They didn't really say how. I don't think in the movie, I don't think they said how or why or something like that. But anyway, so these other military guys come to the house to get him to go for a special operation kind of thing, right? So anyway, I remember that scene, and we're watching it, the four of us, right? And this is after Mel's kid died. And I'm such a fucking idiot watching this movie so intent and say, man, I can't imagine what that would be like. How irony fucking strikes, right? So Mel turns to me, tears in his eyes. She said, yeah, I can't fucking imagine what that would feel like. Dude. It was one of them, like, I felt like shit plenty of times in my life, but that was one of those I was like, oh my God, I hate myself. And then now, I get to know. It's like, fuck, man. Yeah, and like the movie doesn't say it right. You don't think that way. You don't, like, you know, because or maybe you do. I didn't, because I flirted with suicide before, and then I finally have realized how much pain I would cause others, and I knew how selfish it is. I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand now how much pain I'm in. No matter how much pain I'm in, by committing suicide, I just give that to everyone else tenfold. I get it. I finally get it now.
Right.
And I'm not going to fucking do it. But do I want to live? Not really. You know, not to fucking play my fucking violin, but
no,
I don't.
You don't have to explain it to me. I get it completely.
Feel it. Like when my therapist said, go out and ride, you know. So I did. I rode one weekend, felt okay. Raced the next weekend, got a trophy. Rode again the next weekend, blew my knee up. I was trying to plug back into life, you know. And then this whole COVID-19 thing is kind of like a unhealthy
and you're dealing with that too, so
it's a distraction, though, because there is times where it does distract me, and I don't think about all my shit. I don't know, but it puts it in perspective. Like, you know, fearing COVID-19, it's like, I don't, you know, I guess because my perspective is fucked up, and I'll admit it, but I don't fear it. I don't at all.
I don't fear it because I'm probably narcissistic.
I just feel like if I got sick, I'd probably pull through, I'd hope. And then I'd hope that I wouldn't get Mindy or Avery sick because they both have acute asthma, and so they'd be at high risk. So if I got sick, I would assume that I would just quarantine myself with a tent outside or some shit. Go get takeout every day. I don't know. Until I got better, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do know the virus is real, but am I going to live in fear? Fuck no. Why? So someone else can feel comfortable? I'm not going to live my life for other people to feel comfortable. Fuck you. You wouldn't do it for me. Why the fuck would I do it for you? It's retarded. And I know I shouldn't say that word, but I don't care. Like, my filter is fucking almost gone. It was gone when you met me, and then I kind of got with Mindy with help and getting a filter. But it's still like there, and I tip my tongue and was like, shouldn't say it. And now I'm like, I really don't give a shit. Just don't. Because if it offends you, turn me off. Don't listen to me. It's like that thing of like when people shit on other people on Twitter and all these things. Like, again, they go out of their way to be evil. You know what I mean? And they're going and shitting on someone else. For what reason? And instead of like just going, I'm not going to listen anymore. Or tune into whatever that is.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
If you're going to like watch Joe Rogan's show and then hate on him, why the fuck are you watching the show? You're the fucking stupid one. What are you doing? Like, why watch something you hate? I don't listen to music I don't like. And then call up the fucking composer and say, you know what? Bach sucks. And be like, well, Bach's dead. I'd be like, well, tell him he sucks. Wouldn't do any good. And they could just say, well, maybe you should listen to a different station. You know? Seriously, though. You don't, like, call in a radio station and say, hey, play fucking country. This rock and roll stuff sucks ass. They're like, there's other stations, dipshit. Just the society today is so fucking stupid.
You're diving into your irritation of things, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Which is fine because you're expressing emotions, and because I'm trying to figure out what my emotions are supposed to be. In fact, I've discovered that my response and reaction to different emotions isn't the same as it used to be. It's not tied together. They're not connected to the right places. In fact, I was trying to figure out why I don't cry. The saddest thing can happen and I won't cry. That's because my connection between what is sad and my tear ducts isn't there. It doesn't know what to do. It doesn't know how to send that signal and say, oh, by the way, you should cry now. I don't know how to do it. But I'm sad. I always thought, well, what am I, a computer? Do I not have emotions? But no, I have all the emotions. I just don't know how to react and respond to them the appropriate way I used to respond and react to them. And I don't even know if that was, because I've had head injuries my entire friggin' life.
Yeah, I have as well. But, I mean, I can't help you with that. Because for me, it's like, we have a photo album upstairs that was made by a photographer, because we had professional pictures taken in November. Family pictures of not just the four of us, but also Mindy's mom and Mindy's sister and her boyfriend, because they've been together for like 5 years or more. So it's like we're family. And he's been around Jack's entire life. You know, he was here that night. They stayed here with Avery while Mindy and I went into the hospital. You know, so anyway, there's a photo album upstairs, and I can barely even look at sometimes just the cover photo, the one that's on the front of the four of us. But like I dared myself like a few weeks ago just to go through it, and it's like just getting to the end, and the last one is like me holding him, and it's just like. So it's like, for me, it's like, yeah, I don't understand that. I mean, I understand, like, you know, in the sense of like not necessarily why, I guess, but kind of why you can't because of the brain injury. But as far as like the connection part, I wish I could help, or I wish I could say something that would help you, or just show you a picture of my son and make you. If it's not gonna, that would make me cry, not you. Yeah, I don't know, dude. A swift kick in the nuts usually makes me cry, but you know that's because it's painful, not because I'm emotionally charged.
Well, you know, when I had the brain injury and I went to the hospital and then back to rehab, is like I had to learn how to do everything. I had to learn how to walk again. I had to learn how to swallow, to breathe. Well, not breathe, but to talk and to do everything. I had to learn all these things.
So when you learned them again, though,
did
it feel like you were learning them again?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't remember any of that. So
at what point did this, in a sense, consciousness click back in? Do you remember that moment, or it just kind of came?
No, I just remember the last rehab I was in. That's it. But I don't remember a month to a month and a half of my life. It's gone. I shouldn't say it's gone. It's not accessible.
It's in remission.
It's not accessible.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping maybe if I did some mushrooms or something that would come back, because that's labeled that they could do that. But
how much therapy have you done on it?
I haven't done. That's the thing.
Going to a therapist, like a true psychologist, therapist, licensed.
That's what I need to do.
Dude, I'll give you her number, who I went to. She's fucking amazing. Because like I said, it's like I went in, and I'll say this, I'll preface this again to anyone that's listening. Mental health will work only if you want it to work.
Right.
If you go in there thinking psychotherapy's bullshit, I'm only here to satisfy my wife, my husband, or whatever, or my family, that's not going to work.
Oh, I agree.
If you're there going and actually searching for an answer and saying, I need some help, and are willing and not so fucking arrogant to think, did you actually know every fucking thing?
That's where I was. I did. I felt like
that's part of the problem.
Nothing. Well, this was in the past. I felt like nobody. Yeah. I'm smarter than everybody else, so nobody can help me.
Right.
But like I've said in the past to you, it's like
we're both smart enough to outsmart ourselves. And that's the problem.
After I watched that Joe Rogan podcast with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and some other ones, it's like there is hope, because my physical side had issues.
The only thing that's permanent in life is death.
Well, yeah. But see, I didn't have that psychological portion in my brain going, I need the psychological help. I need somebody to help me with that part.
Yeah.
And I know I need that. I went to Zelensky back on March 6th to get an update of where I was. So.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I believe the power of the mind is truly unlimited.
Oh, yeah.
So it's one of those, because we don't really know how powerful we can be in the sense of what our minds can actually accomplish. Because there are certain people that are so fucking smart that do certain things that I can't even wrap my mind around. So there is a separation of intelligence for sure.
I know that video you sent me, that text is like, I'm thinking to myself, what am I gonna be amazing at, or am I gonna have some powers? It's like, okay, I don't see.
Mindy started tripping on it too, because we both know I've had plenty of concussions as well, and she's like, because there was a part of that film, because we were watching on the smart TV upstairs, and where the guy was talking about how he sees things. Remember that part? And I was like, and she looks right over at me, and I'm like, because I always see that shit I see. I'm like, I don't fucking know. That brings me to another thought, because anyway, I was thinking about it brings me to Graham Hancock again, kind of, sort of, but because he talks about the Sphinx and how old it really is, and also the pyramids and so on. And I've been tripping on this stuff for the past couple of weeks, and I've always been, like most people, really been interested in the pyramids since I fucking heard about them. Like, what are these things? This is amazing. And the more you know, the more that we don't know about them. Like with most things, the more knowledge you gain, the more you realize you don't know shit. And so obviously they always thought that they were their buried chambers, and now we're figuring out they never were buried chambers. There's no one ever buried in them, especially in the Great Pyramid. And then they're showing the actual layout of the different shafts and the places they were calling the King's Chamber and the Queen's Chamber, because that's just what they named them. And then they called this one thing a sarcophagus, because that's what they call these boxes usually. But then they found out that one guy hit it one time, and it reverberated a sound throughout the entire hall.
Yep.
I started thinking about that thing. And because this other physicist said, it's like a nuclear combustible oven. If you fill at the bottom with water and you do this and do that, and smoke leads to another area, you create a machine. And I was like, well, that's a decent theory. Yeah, okay, he's smarter than me, I don't fucking know. But I was watching it more and more and more, and I started thinking, I was like, that thing's a fucking harmonic device, isn't it? It's a sound device.
Could be.
It's a fucking, you look at, I'm no expert, but you look at those, the Great Hall, as they call it. It's a chamber that slowly angles upward like that and gets smaller at the top. What would you need that for? For sound waves to move in different directions, in different ways. It just makes sense to me if you knew a lot about harmonics, if you were smart enough to understand that, which I don't. I know very minimal about megahertz and stuff like that, you know. But, because if we know that electricity is flowing through the air at all times, and we know we tap into it because we're using radio waves and everything else all the time, holy shit, what did they know that they couldn't pass on to us because the ones that knew it died?
Right.
And all that was left were us people going, do-do-do-do-do.
So now is the time you take DMT. That's all I'm saying. Then maybe you'll know.
That's a hell of an answer. But I'm sitting there thinking, like, why wouldn't someone, if we know so much about the pyramids, we know a lot now, why couldn't someone build a model scale and just test it? Build it to where it was built like originally, with the outer sheeting and everything else, with the limestone and so on and so forth, with the same exact size measurements and everything else, and start making harmonic sounds.
Maybe it's for you to make it.
I can't do that shit.
Don't tell me you can't do that shit.
Caveman goes unga. I don't do that.
You can do anything. You're capable of anything.
Nah, I go build houses for other people to live in.
Yeah. Capable of anything.
Oh, speaking of which, man, I left my dirt bike out. I need to go put that away. Well, not mine. Avery's actually, the little mini bike. I was just showing it to the family when they stopped by for the Easter egg hunt with our social distancing, which I do respect it with Mindy's mom and stuff because she's elderly, and I respect people that I think are in danger of it, of course.
Right.
But
or that, and or believe.
Sure, but when I see people driving around by themselves with masks on, I feel like,
yeah, what's the point?
The fuck are you doing? Like, what it? Huh?
I know I was in Natural Grocers a few times, and everybody there is wearing masks, and I'm like, yeah.
I have tons of masks because construction, you know, all the sanding and painting, all the things I've done. I'm like, I'm not wearing any. I got tons of them.
One of the cashiers, there was a plastic thing in front so you can get sputum or whatever. Yeah. And she coughs or something like that, and she's like, "Don't worry, it's just allergies." And I'm like, "I'm not worried. It doesn't bother me."
So I'll lick that plastic. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm just saying, it's like it doesn't. I don't know, man.
But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't want to I don't want to be like they say, I don't want to be the one that puts other people in danger or whatever like that. But I get it, but then I'm like, I just don't. I'm not gonna live in fear. I choose not to. I'm not. Fuck that.
And you're very respectful because when you texted me, you're like, you know, if you're afraid of the COVID thing, then we'll do it over the phone. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm not afraid.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. We got the door open, kind of.
Death, I'm not afraid of. Being alone? Yeah, I guess I'm afraid of being alone.
Here's the thing, dude, about death. I thought about, because right after Jack passed, Avery was sleeping in her room for a few months. She just started sleeping in another room just a few weeks ago. First she was just sleeping in her bed with us, you know, and then she was just made enough room and put another mattress at the foot of her bed. So she had her twin mattress at the foot of the bed. Right. So she was right there. And anyway, one night, I can't remember if she was still in our bed or if she was in the other one, but it doesn't really matter. I have a sleep apnea thing going on, and so I thought about it because I was thinking about because one of the nights I think I woke up choking like I usually do, and it was kind of scary because I lost my breath and you're choking on your own tongue, and I started thinking about one night I was going to bed about how I was going to lay down, because if I lay down on my back, usually that's where the problem is. So if I lay on my side, I'm fine. And I was laying on my back, and I was starting to fall asleep, and I was like, oh, I need to turn over. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. You know? And I truly thought about it for a minute. It's almost like committing suicide. And I was like, you asshole. Really? Just because you're in so much pain, you're going to accidentally die in your sleep and let your wife and kid discover you just like I discovered Jack? Really? That's what you're going to do? I was like, started hating myself so much. I was so angry at myself. I was like, you fucking loser. God, Anyway. So yeah, it's like living is, for me, I feel kind of torture. Like I feel like it's torture to be here, kind of. Because I try not to think about him, because it's one of those things that, I know it sounds, I don't know how it sounds. But it's like, if I think about him all the time, all I do is cry.
Right.
And it's like, and I truly try not to think about it from the selfish nature of like all the things that I'm gonna miss. I think about his life he didn't get to live, and how fucked up that is, and how many fucking pieces of shit that are out there that are living life, like Harvey Weinstein's or the Epstein or people like that fucking lived. And my innocent boy that was nothing but pure and good died. Like, you're telling me there's a God? Are you sure? Because what kind of God would allow that?
Maybe there's a reason that we don't understand and why it happened.
But I don't believe in that.
Well,
there's no one that can give me it. I don't want to be mean.
No,
but I just, when people say, oh, there's a reason, I'm like, no, there's fucking not. Like, you can't, there's nothing that can be said to me. And maybe I'm being a dick, but there's no reason why he fucking died. I get that, yeah, there's a health reason why he died or something like that. But a philosophical one, it's like, no.
Well,
there isn't
if
one.
you don't believe, you don't believe.
Yeah, I don't. I believe that his life was ripped from him, and it's beyond bullshit. I should have died. I'd be fine with that. I should have died. I've been fine with that, and him live. That would make sense. Even though, yeah, I'd be dying young at 46, sure. Fucking hell of a lot older than fucking 3. I feel like I've lived long enough and experienced enough that if I died, it's like, so fucking what? But a 3-year-old, like, what kind of world are we living in, And so it's like, that's when I'm like, people ask me about God or other things or reason for things. I'm like, I don't think there is a reason for everything. I think things fucking happen, and the human nature in us wants to make a reason for it because we always want things to make sense. And when things don't make sense, it's hard for us to put in a bed or put a label on it or box it. In other words, being comfortable in discomfort is my whole thing. Like, I realized, like, my name for my podcast is kicking me in my face. It's like, yeah. It's kind of funny, right? But that's how I view it, though. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. It's just how I see it, I guess.
Right.
Because I don't try to pretend to be right. Why? That's a waste of energy thinking that you have answers to other people or to life in general. Like finding answers for yourself is fine. Like I try to find them for myself and then I share them on here. But I don't say like, here's the answer for you. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in one size fits all. I think that each individual experience, that life is going to have its own path. No two are the same. We're all snowflakes. You know why I said that? Kind of tonally why it was kind of funny. 'Cause you know how the right likes to call leftists snowflakes?
Yeah.
We're all snowflakes. But it's true. We're all unique as fuck from birth. And that's why I think it's so funny when, a lot of us, and we find what individually we're attracted to, how we dress and what music we listen to and stuff like that. But when people go out of the way to be so fucking unique, how they look or they try so hard, and it's like, why? You're unique the minute you're born. There's no one fucking like you ever. No one's ever going to think exactly like you. It's impossible. So when you say that you've changed from where you were before, it's like, well, all of us do. I know that yours is extreme and traumatic, and I'm not trying to make light of it, but we all change. I'm way different as fuck as I was when I was a teenager. So anyone that knew me at 17 would listen to this and go, that's not the Chet I knew.
Right.
So we all fucking change. Hopefully we all change.
I know you're different than when I first met you. Completely.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, yes. And there's still that inner me, and it's just kind of a jackass. But I hold it at bay for the most part. But I love to, like, when I get drunk, I kind of, tend to say things and do things that I normally shouldn't or wouldn't. Just have a little fun.
I get angry a lot for reasons I shouldn't get angry for.
Well, I don't know about that. Why do you say for reasons you shouldn't? Or for other reasons? Whoa, shit! As I kick stuff in here, for reasons other people may not. Is that what you're saying? You're judging it, comparing it to another person.
There was a time I was driving with my wife and a friend of ours,
a bunch of noise
and I was driving down the highway, and I was just pissed. No reason. There was nothing that sparked it. I wasn't thinking about something. I was just pissed. And
After
I told
the injury?
him, yeah, I'm like, I'm fucking pissed for no reason. I started flipping off cops and just driving fast, and it's like,
that's not healthy.
What the hell for?
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of things that aren't healthy that I do. But
well, the reaction is probably not okay.
No.
But being upset for no reason is okay. It really is. Like, I find myself feeling like I'm upset for no reason sometimes, and I can't pinpoint why. Because it's like, which damage was it this time that made me upset? What sparked it? So it's like, it's okay to be upset for no reason. It's okay to be upset. Like, we talked about anger is okay.
I know. That's why I sent you something that talked about that.
And it was funny, you sent me something too on Facebook. Like you, I don't know if you tagged me or whatever that's called, because I don't really know how to do that stuff.
Or whatever.
You did something.
Right.
And it was something about a Buddha statement. And it was too funny because it was something about something about time and the people mistaken thinking that they have time. And I thought it was kind of funny because I was like, dude, I know that. I already knew that before. I knew that when I read Buddhism too, and that time is, what's the word? Not infinite. What's the word I'm looking for? Your time anyway. Like, your time on this planet is defined. It's a set amount of days, in a sense. Like, you don't live forever, So I know
I'm living forever. I'm sorry.
So I understand that I have a limited time on this planet. And so I feel like that's why I say, like, I know that I'm going to die at some point. So I embraced life, or I had. I'm still trying again, but it's extremely difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, because, you have no guarantee of afterlife. There's no guarantee that anyone's right or wrong on that, so you don't know. But you do know you're here. You do, and you can say your consciousness and all that if you want, but you do know you're physically capable of affecting other people's lives. You do know that you can interact with other people and affect them in positive or negative ways. That is just a fact. And so we can choose every day of how we do that. That's the power we have. We have the power to become the person we want to be, and we have the power to treat others, in a sense, how we want to be treated if we choose. But then with yourself having these anger spouts and things like that control your rational thinking, you're in a difficult situation. So you're not going to play by those rules all the time. I don't know. I'm not a therapist. I can't help you with that. But I know my therapist helped me with that EMDR thing, which I didn't believe in at first. I didn't buy into it. I was just like, fucking hippie shit. But then it wasn't just the treatment as far as like it. You know what I mean? As far as the electrodes and the groundingness and the idea of it. I really think, like I said about therapists, and what I was going to say about going to therapy, it's like, it's not just partly you going in and saying I want help, but it's also having a good therapist. Because just like any other human beings, not all of us are good at what we do.
Right.
And it was what she said and how she said it to me. I don't need to go through it, but it was just, she let me view something in a different way.
Right.
And it profoundly changed me in a lot of ways. It just helped me understand how limited my control was over the situation, what I could and couldn't do. Because before that, it was a problem of me feeling guilt and not knowing what I should have done or could have done, or if I should have woke up at 3 a.m. or whenever it was. When I viewed it the way she asked me to, she just asked me to view it outside outside of the situation, however I chose, just outside as a narration type of viewing. And so when I did that, I chose to view it topically. I chose to view the house as I was looking down on it and with no roof. And seeing us move around and seeing the entire, from the night to the morning, to Mindy leaving to work, to me waking up, getting Avery ready for school, up until the point till I found Jack and so on. And being able to view it and watching, it just gave me a clarity that I didn't have before. It gave me this understanding that basically I had no control. I had no control of the situation, none whatsoever. And there was nothing I could have done that would have given me that control or would have given me the knowledge to have done something. So yeah. I mean, I guess some of my biggest problems I still have is just, as a father, it's just like, I hope he didn't suffer or wasn't crying out for us, because it's one of those things we had the monitor on and it's visual and audio.
Right.
But we didn't hear anything, obviously. So it's just one of those things of like, it's weird to hope that your son died peacefully, but I just hope he didn't die with a lot of fear, because as a 3-year-old thinking like, you're crying out to your mom and dad or wanting to or whatever.
And they're not coming. Yeah.
I just think that really fucks with me, for sure. But, I don't know. I mean, there's just certain things like I realized I didn't have any control over, and I did everything that I was supposed to do in that situation. I mean, I called the cops first instead of calling the wife, which I contemplated. And I was freaking out at first until I saw Avery. And then I kind of had to reevaluate,
Right.
how I was reacting. And so it was just, yeah. And so then also too, it was like, so at first it was like I was dedicating a lot of time and energy into like, oh shit, Avery, let's get her into therapy first. Let's take care of her. And I went back to work right away because I was trying to just, figure it out. And yeah, after a few days of work, I was like, I need to go see somebody. I'm not doing so hot. But yeah, it's that thing. Is like, so I would acknowledge anybody else or tell anyone else if you're feeling it. You know what I mean? If you're feeling, I'm not doing so hot up here. I mean, that's the time. Go fucking see somebody, because you're not in control anymore. And as much as a control freak as I am, and I'm pretty sure you are.
Oh yeah.
When your mind starts to go in those directions, your control is limited at best. It really is. And then that's when I was like, I know I need help because I can't do it. I'm going to crack. For sure. I just knew it. I was like, I'm going to pop. It's going to happen. Because I already had a psychological breakdown before, so I'm like, I know the signs. I know what the fuck's going on. So, and instead of just letting it happen and being a victim, I was like, well, I gotta go take care of this shit. So I don't know, man. I would suggest that to you just as another avenue, I mean, of course, I know you're looking into the ayahuasca thing. You said you found maybe something around town, which I was like, what the fuck?
Yes, I did.
That's amazing.
I found it.
And it's legit.
Yes,
that's the thing.
It's legit
like,
and it's legal
fuck?
Because it's religious based.
Right. Yeah.
So. Yeah.
But it's the real shit.
Yes.
From isn't it South America, right? Yeah.
So.
Are you thinking about doing it?
Thinking I'm going to. I don't know when. What are you talking about? I try everything.
So how long are you going to stay here, too?
I don't
You don't know? Because you said your wife needs you, so I feel like, man, if your wife needs you, you should probably go.
She doesn't even really want me around right now.
Shitty attitude problem?
Yes.
Well, dude, what the fuck? I'm just kidding. Yeah, well, you're in a unique situation.
But I don't... I'm bored as hell every day. There's nothing to do.
Dude, I'm at work a lot. You can just come down here and make podcasts if you want. You talk about government conspiracies and shit. You can change the background. Yeah.
I just feel like I'm supposed to be doing something, and plus, I'm very protective. And it's like, I feel like I need to be protecting. I need to protect my wife, and I'm not there to protect. It's like I'm 800 miles away, and my daughter's in Reno. It's like I can't protect her anymore. I tried to protect her entire not her entire life, but most of it.
Well, her entire life until adulthood or so. How's that? Or even past somewhat. But yeah, you try. I mean, that's the thing is like you realize as a parent, your job is never done. I mean, it's not you just you check out at 18. See you later. I mean, maybe the shitty people do. But the reality is you're a parent until you die. That's real.
I already did.
You're a parent until you're buried or burnt.
I didn't get buried. I came back.
Yeah, well.
Why the fuck I came back, I don't know.
Well, if you're religious, it wasn't your time.
Or if you're Bob Lazar. Or aliens.
I don't know. Bob Lazar is an interesting cat. I think he's telling the truth. That's what's scary about him. He doesn't express those things that a liar would express. He doesn't seem like a liar.
Right.
The only thing that tripped me out that I didn't know was that he owned a brothel. I'm like, it's a sidestep from the science area, but, hey, everyone has their freak. So he likes to have sex. So a lot of guys. I'm not going to throw the book away at him and say that he's not telling the truth on the other shit just because he had a brothel. But it's like one of those things. It's like, you can't believe a hooker in court because she fucks for a living. It's like, well, we all have sex. Does that mean we all lie or something? So what the fuck is that? So she has sex more often? Makes her a liar? Kind of weird.
They try to use everything against people.
Of course, yeah. It's because it's a questionable moral thing, and so therefore we get to judge you on it. Therefore, we get to judge you in the sense of like, do you tell the truth or not, just because you have questionable morals, and even though those aren't connected at all, but somehow we decided they are in the court of opinion. It's weird.
Yep.
How long have you been recording?
I don't know.
It's like an hour and a half. I don't know what time it is. I could look on this one. You probably have a watch on. No, you don't.
I don't have a watch on.
It's 10:30.
Screw the time.
Well, time is a concept, right?
Yes.
It's a human thing. I think we made it up. Well, it's just like everything else, We make up things to, satisfy our questions.
Yeah.
Some of them are real, but a lot of them we just make up.
True.
Time does exist in the sense of like you think about the astrological scale, but I don't know. Are you tripping on that thing too? Avery used to love watching that when we record the podcast. She'd be watching that and be like, "Oh, we're recording, right?" She's just like staring at the graph. I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty cool." Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, fucking at least we got to do an in-person one finally. I need to clean off the desk spot because I forgot I didn't have Skylar do it because she changed her name. She's back to a she now again, so it's Mandy. So if Skylar's watching, it's now Mandy.
Okay.
And
I'll allow it.
She's decided, I don't know, because she said that, because I asked her, hey, is it okay if I put your recording, because we did video recording too, and I didn't ever post, and I finally posted. I was like, hey, is it okay? Because I wanted to ask first before I put it on YouTube. She said, yeah, it's fine, put it on there, but I think we need to do an update, because she, I don't know what she decided, but she's apparently going back to being a lesbian, and is now again dating my cousin. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I that's the thing is like I could make fun of it if I want to. It's one of those things like I could sit there and shit on it, make fun of it, but I'm like I don't really think I need to.
Does it affect you?
Not at all.
So what difference does it make?
Yeah, I don't care. And it's one of those things. It's like, it's like you can make fun of it, or it's the simple fact that she's confused and she's not really sure who she is. And that's
I'm confused. I don't even know who I'm supposed to be.
And that's totally okay. But it's like I said to her, and I've said to a lot of people, like I still don't feel like your sexuality should be at the forefront of like who you are. You know what I mean?
Right.
We shouldn't be walking around talking about who we fuck or how we fuck. We should be just being people, and if it comes up in conversation, fine. But we shouldn't have to, like, let everyone know that's, you know, it's just so strange.
None of anyone else's business.
I just don't see it as, like, why it's so, prevalent, like, why we need to talk about it so often. It just bothers me. And I get that some people say, like, well, because Mindy said to me, like, well, people just know your sexuality. It's implicit. I'm like, no, it's not. That's an assumption that you think I'm heterosexual. You're right if you think that. But you can also assume something else about me, too. Because I cry a lot, you can be like, oh, for sure. He's taken it in the pooper a few times. No, even when I was molested, that didn't happen either. But you're close.
Hey, I don't cry. Does that make me a heartless?
No. And that's the thing is, like, we like to do that, though. We love to sit there and say, well, you're this because of that. Or, like, I notice a lot, because I was on a kick for a while before Jack passed away. I was getting really hot about it, the social justice warrior stuff. I was getting really mad at these people because I was like, bunch of fucking idiots. They don't realize that when they pick up this social justice warring stuff, so in other words, the people that are like extreme leftists and are so angry, it's funny to watch them. They basically say, okay, if someone is talking about hate speech, they label it as hate speech. First of all, they get to label whatever those words are as hate speech. They get to decide that whatever you're saying is hate speech. So right off the bat, we have a problem because we have a certain person or a group of people deciding what is and what isn't hate speech, and therefore also, even if it is hate speech, so fucking what?
Right.
It's not illegal, nor should it be, because it's called freedom of speech. Now, you choosing to listen to it or not is up to you. Shutting it down is not the best approach. And that's what they do. They try to shut it down. So instead of like arguing how stupid these people are and giving a better argument, a better debate, a more thought process thing, they just try to shut it down, and they get angry and they use violence and everything else against these people. And it's so interesting that these are the people that claim to be on the left side of things, when it's like, isn't the left side of things to give us all more and more rights, not to take them away? And here you are taking away rights of other people because you don't agree with what they say?
It's a strange world we live in.
It's fucked up. Just because you don't agree with what someone says, instead of shutting them down and saying they're not allowed to speak, better their argument. Show why they shouldn't be speaking by their stupidity in their thought process or their values or whatever you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, it's just so stupid to me. I find it so frustrating. It was really getting to me. And then after Jack passed, I'm like, pretty insignificant. And then after this COVID-19 thing happened, it's like the rest of the world is seeing how insignificant it is too. That shit, at the end of the day, doesn't matter that much. Now, it may matter as you as a person, as a personality, that you've been, like, let's say, living in a shadow or living in a home that doesn't accept who you are, like your mother and father don't accept your sexuality. I can understand that being extremely frustrating and would cause a lot of psychological damage, no doubt. But that's not the world's problem. Just isn't. You know? So maybe that's between you and your parents and you and your own sexuality, not society. You know what I mean? So it's like, for me being abused by my brother, neighbors, my mom, whatever, right? That doesn't mean I get to take it out on other people.
Correct.
I go and fight my fight with the fucking people that damaged me, not everyone else. It's not their fucking fault. It's just not. So if you're angry at someone, deal with them. That'd be my advice. Don't shit on other people just because you've been damaged. Like, I've always said that. It's like, it's one of those things that, yes, I've been damaged. That doesn't give me a right to shit on other people, though. It just doesn't.
Right.
It may explain why I'm a shitty person, but it still doesn't give me a right.
We need to do more podcasts.
I know, you can hear the footsteps up above. I think that's me.
That's why I'm like...
She's getting ready for bed, sounds like.
I can't hear it outside of the headphones, only through the headphones. So it's
right, because it's coming. You can hear
it's
it
coming from
he's,
there to here.
Because these mics are super fucking sensitive. That's why I had to turn off all my gross stuff, because it just picks up on everything. So it's like, I think, even though I paid a lot for these, I guess there's better ones out there that are better for podcasts that don't. These are supposed to be ones that aren't supposed to pick up the ambient sound, I guess.
It's good enough.
But I don't know. They work so far. And I figured out a lot of my homes where they were coming from and shit. Like, you have to unplug this computer and certain things. But yeah. I was learning.
Still learning.
Still learning, yeah, I know. It's better now. So remember, you can see like where the paint line is, where the pipe was before. And so it was like in front of the door. And so you couldn't even open the door. The whole way you can only get open this far. So I'm like, and it's not like it's a fucking, it looks okay now on camera with this. But you saw that first one I recorded. It's like Dahmer's area. He's like, fuck, I could kill some people in there. No one would ever know. And now it looks almost like a studio or something.
Works for me.
But yeah, man, I've been adding to it. I added my Happy Trees guy. What's his name again? Bob Ross.
Oh, yeah.
Remember him?
Yeah.
The painter guy for fucking, come on, what's the station?
I don't
PBS.
know. Yeah, well.
Yeah, and then got Dungy up there now, too. I got his Wheatie box. I should break out the Jordan Wheatie box. I have a Jordan Wheatie box from back in the day.
All right.
It's in my shop. All right, well, yeah, we should probably end this, huh? We babbled enough.
Yeah.
Hope everyone's enjoyed it. It's just us having a conversation and talking shit. I do want to play a song on the out, so I'll take my mic off and put it over the speaker so people can hear it. But Andy doesn't even know what I'm playing, but we'll play it, and if I can turn my computer on, and we'll stop talking.
Hey, I don't want to stop talking.
Well,
I want to continue talking just because I feel like talking. I want to talk to no one. No one is lovely to talk to. I love talking to no one. Hey, no one, how you doing? Okay, I'm done talking.
All right. Well, I think here's the song. So I'm not going to do a sign-off or anything. I think, what I was going to do, too, real quick, I was like, oh, I know what I want to do. Like, instead of me doing, like, these intros and shit, like, oh, blah, 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 I was like, it'd be kind of cool to, like, maybe, like somehow record like me upstairs and then walking to downstairs to the basement door and getting in and stuff, but then like edit it with like some sound, because I don't know how to do that shit, but eventually I'd like to. And then just make that as my intro every time, so it's not like,
all right,
I don't know. Anyway,
I'll help you figure that out.
Yeah, well, that'd be cool, because I don't know shit about editing. I have the editing program on there, but I don't use it. So all right, I'm just gonna take this off. All right, so love you all as always, and thanks for listening. All right, well, I'm going to play a song. Let's see. Oh, it should be super loud. Put that one down there, too. You can hear it, right? Yeah. All right, cool.
See you later.
I ain't seen home in about 100 days. I can almost hear Mama pray for my restless soul. And I ain't made $1, I ain't spent, but where it's going ain't killed me yet. I still get where I'm bound to go.
I know, man. Something I should actually. Have you ever played it?
I'm making it. I'm making wrong feel right. I'm making it, and if hell's where I'm headed there,
I want to do things that like
making good time.
Mindy played piano when she was a kid, and we actually have a piano. Just bring it over here. It's in my mom's house.
Most all of my plans slip right through my hands and wind up next to me, broken on the ground. If this bottle was an hourglass, I'd say that I'm about an hour past the minute I should have put it down. But I'm making it, I'm making wrong feel right. I'm making it, and if hell's where I'm headed there, I'm making good time. but I'm in pretty good shape for the shape that I'm in.
But
I'll give you advice, but
I hate seeing home in about 100 days.
But no, I was feeling just shitty. I was like, I woke up and I was just like, one, I think about things like